Hey fellas, this follow up to the Flowtek head situation here for rods, maybe the LTD. This is the head we ported a little bit, and when I say ported, just run the burr down the ports. Took out the little bump that was right here. You can see it's more prominent on this one. And I spent most of the time in the bowl, the objective being to get rid of all the garbage that was in the way. You see how much smoother that looks. Made the bowl a little bit wider, and then did the same on the exhaust. Got rid of that garbage in the way. Probably see it better on this one. This head hadn't been messed with. You see that down in here, how that got that lip from the machining where it only went so far into the bowl. And then the same on the exhaust, got that hump right there. And then it's got another ridge around that. That's where the air's got to turn around the short side on both the intake and exhaust. And if you got any obstruction in there, it's going to hurt it. So I got rid of that on both of these. Dropped a little bit down here between the seats, you know, to get your air moving better for the during the overlap. And made the bowls a little wider, the throws a little wider on each one through here. That's it. And then of course, you know, run a sand in roll here a little bit. So Saturday, Rod and I took both heads over to Pascagoula, Mississippi. Nice little town right on the water. There's a guy that's got a shop over there, Ray Coulter. He's got a cylinder head shop. I think it's Ray's Performance Cylinder Heads or Coulter Performance or something like that. But anyway, good guy, very knowledgeable. He's very generous with his time, because I managed to miss the turn to go to Pascagoula and ended up in Biloxi. But other than that, it was uneventful for the most part. So we got these flowed. You know, first we ran this one, hadn't been touched, and then we ran this one, and we were very pleased with how they turned out. We were actually surprised, even the stock one, how well it flowed, because this is what they advertise on their website. This is from the Flowtek website for the 180cc head with a 1.94 intake, 1.55 exhaust. Those are the numbers they advertised. And this is what they flowed on Ray's bench. Now Ray's got a homemade bench, and that's not a disparaging term when I say homemade, because it's really nice. He put a lot of work into it, and it shows. It works really good. It's very repeatable, but that's just a term we use to differentiate between the store-bought bench, which is I think they're DynoJet. But if you remember, we talked about before, the DynoJets are more accurate in the low lift, but they inflate the numbers up here towards the top, and the homemade benches are like the opposite. They'll inflate the low lift numbers here, but they're more accurate at the top. So for some reason, Flowtek doesn't even provide the 0.1 numbers. They just go from 0.2 up to 800. And with the valve spring and retainer, or valve retainer and keepers I had on there, all we could get up to was 700, which is fine, because he's not going to use a cam anywhere near that anyway. He's got an X cam with 1.72 rockers, and I think the lift is like in the 580 range or somewhere in there, 560. So, you know, we're not hitting anywhere near up 700. And with that in mind too, remember, people always want to glorify the big number, you know, you get at the top usually. Remember, when you got the cam moving the valves, your valve is only hitting this number once. All these other numbers below it, you're hitting twice. So that's where most of your focus of your attention should be, on these, getting those numbers up better. All right, so this is what it flowed. You can see it's a lot better than what these are. And these are the numbers we got from the modified head. Now these are what I say corrected numbers, because what I didn't have enough checking springs to put springs, retainers, and all that on both heads at the same time. So what I did is I took the springs off of here and went to put them on here. Well, they were kicking my butt trying to get them on here. So in the process, I forgot to take the spark plug out of this head and put in this one. So when we first started running it, these numbers were up about 20 on there, and well, actually 17, and it ended up getting close to like 300. And I thought, what the heck? This is way crazy from just moving that stuff out of the way. So, you know, we were pretty ecstatic about that. And then I got home, and then I was, excuse me, taking the heads out of the car, and I noticed we did this head last, and I didn't have a spark plug in it. And I thought, oh crap, everything we did was out the window. And I texted Ray, and he says, yeah, it'll typically bump your numbers up about 15 or 20. So what I did was took 17 off these numbers, kind of split the difference between 15 and 20, and that's just that's what they are. So like I said, even these are better than what I was anticipating, and I was really concerned about the size of the head and only flowing this. I thought, man, this might not be going in the right direction, you know, to put on the LTD, because you know, I was figuring I'd get maybe 15 or 20 CFM out of the heads, moving that stuff out of the bowls. Then so when they flowed this, I felt a lot better about making the change for rod. So, and then this is what I call the corrected numbers. I took 17 off of them, like I said, so it'll work a lot better than the Explorer heads. Initially I was concerned that if they're only flowing this, the Explorer's heads were flowing about 20 CFM better than that, I at least had to get these heads to flow what the Explorer heads did in order to make them work better. So, I mean, he's taking probably 50 pounds off the front of the car anyway, and if the heads can flow, you know, at least what the Explorers did, it's a net gain. So, that they flowed that well is something to look forward to. He should do pretty well with it. What I did just a bit ago was I mapped the port, and what that is something I provided to Joel, and Joel set up the spreadsheet for me. What he did, I accidentally hit the enlarge button. What he did was I provided him these numbers, the width and height of the port, and he took all that information and then he made a spreadsheet. And so you got the total diameter here, and then you got the corrected diameter here. Let me get that in the picture for you so you can see what I'm talking about. And what that is your diameter is, you know, your width times your height, but then this is the correction because you don't have a 90-degree angle here. You got a little radius. So that 0.054, that's subtracted off there. You can, let me show you the formula. I know the refresh rate on the computer and then the camera of the phone is awesome, but that's what that is right there. That's how you get your what is your MCSA, minimum cross-section area, for that part of the port. And what that does, you take all that information, and he does some Excel wizardry, and he makes a picture, which is good because I like pictures. And that provides a picture of the shape of the port. And ideally, you want your port to come in and look almost like a ski slope. You come down here, you get to where your push rod pinch is right here, about the 1-inch point, and then to go up, because you want the biggest part of your port near the valve. That way, when the air comes in, and just before it goes over the short turn into the cylinder, the port expands, the air slows down, excuse me, and it makes the turn easier. So I've got all these other heads I've done. The AFR's got the nicest one, and that's ideally what you want to shoot for, is to have, like I said, you got a ski slope. These Flowteks aren't that way, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to make them better, because they're doing pretty good the way they are right now. I'm very pleased with that, and I know Rod is too. And like I said, they're going to make a big difference for it. So that's how they are, and that's the way they're going to be. I just got to fix this head to make it look like this one on the inside, and then I can get these over to Rod, and he can put them on the car. Oh, but I was going to show you, this is the tool I made to measure the ports. I got, like right here, that's the 0, and then I got 1/2-inch increments all the way up. What I do is put that in there, take a measurement, measure it with that caliper, and then I put it on here on the spreadsheet, and like I said, I got all that information together. And Joel, I don't know how much time he spent on this, but it's pretty awesome. But I've got some more heads I've got measured. I got to send it back to him so he can fix it up, because there's some things I can't. I'm not I'm not gonna try to figure out how to do it. It'll make it worse. So I'll give it to him. If he wants to monkey with it, he can. But anyway, that's what's going on with these. That's follow up, and like I said, I got to get busy on these to get them done, get them over to Rod so I can get working on the LTD again. All right, later, fellas.